everyone. I'm Wolfman Sam here with my partner Johnny Buff Guns, and we are Creatures of the Night. How's everybody doing tonight? Or today, I should say.
Yeah, even though Halloween's over, but we're still talking about horror movies anyway. And
it goes year round with us. But John, you want to start us off?
Yes, to start this off, I want to say R.I.P. to Tony Todd and Terri Garr. We lost some two recent legends recently in the film and entertaining business.
Yeah,
especially Tony Todd.
Candyman for Tony Todd, and for those of you that are not familiar with Young Frankenstein, Miss Terri Garr.
Yes.
Would
you like to have it roll and say, hey, it's fun!
Yes.
What knockers? Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Yeah, Young Frankenstein, man. That is definitely a classic for sure.
Yeah. Besides that,
I don't know who's left. Who's left out of that crew?
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks surprisingly is.
Yeah, Peter Boyle's gone. Gene Wilder's gone. Marty Feldman's been gone since the 70s.
Yeah, he's been gone for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, and Inspector Kemp is gone.
Inspector Kemp is gone.
Pretty much everybody except for Mel Brooks is.
Yeah. I keep hearing a rumor that he's going to do one more thing, but I don't.
He said that for years.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I feel like after Dracula Dead and Loving, he just knew that he was done and over.
Yeah, and he's entitled to that retirement. Yeah. He's entitled to that retirement, but
and also besides Young Frankenstein, Terri Garr was in Mr. Mom, Tootsie, and she was she was in this Martin Scorsese film I saw, After Hours, with the guy from American Werewolf in London. Griffin. Yes, Griffin Dunn.
Griffin Dunn. Okay.
Yes. Who played the guy who gets eaten by the werewolf in American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
And also, believe it or not, she was the voice of Terry McGinnis's mother in Batman Beyond.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I didn't know that either.
That's pretty cool for all you Batman.
Oh, it is. Well, it's voice acting. It's a job for her.
Yeah.
She was also in Dumb and Dumber, but very brief though in Dumb and Dumber. Not a big part.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah, I mean. What else do you want to cover?
So also like a brief story. I met Tony Todd a long time ago. Very nice guy, very cool guy to meet, very down to earth.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm glad I met him.
You meet a lot of people at cons.
Thanks, but it depends. Like I said, I always got to do my assessment list to see, okay, who do I really want to meet? And it's like, okay, this person I could care less about.
Yeah, you kind of have to pick and choose.
No, they're not. I went to a con last month again. I met Alan Hallward. That was worth it for me because he worked with John Carpenter. I'm a huge John Carpenter fan.
Right. And it's I could imagine it's gonna be like a pipe dream for you because you're a massive Halloween fan. So.
Yes, and because he didn't do the first one. He did like the later sequels.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because after when John Carpenter left after the third film, he didn't have any hesitation giving up the franchise because he admitted that he did not want Halloween to be a franchise, and he wasn't he's not the kind of guy that wants a franchise everything. He just wants to do one movie and that's it. But
yeah, and like we were talking about before, before we started, we talked about the Child's Play movies.
Yes,
and how I was stating that Chucky as a character is kind of long in the tooth. Now I love the character, absolutely love the character, but much like everything else, I think it needs to be concluded, or the character needs to take a break,
or send him to space.
I mean, we could do that, but I don't think that's gonna end well. I don't think people are going to be he'll be up there with the Fast and Furious, riding on the cars, being
or
give me that car.
Or how they joke in through social media, Chucky was slept on.
Right. I'm just adjusting my camera. I'm at a weird angle right now.
Okay. And I also met Victoria Price, Vincent Price's daughter, super nice lady. She was a sweetheart.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yes, I met Boris my third time meeting Boris Karloff's daughter, Sarah Karloff, because this is as close as I get to meeting,
right, the horror legends, because they're all passed. They're passed on.
Right, I
we're
get to meet
kind of
relatives.
we're kind of talking about that a little bit, because again, with the advent of AI, the thing, I don't mean to be a cynic, but the thing about my point being that these franchises are kind of going on and on and on. Certain franchises, if they do more Chucky movies, it's going to get to the point where we're going to have an AI Brad Dourif, and I just don't want it.
I'm just not up for it. I'm just like,
I just don't want it. I'd much rather have Fiona
I want the real
Dourif.
guy.
Yeah, I'd much rather have Fiona Dourif, his daughter, have a nice career in horror or otherwise.
Right.
I'm more excited for the next generation of horror film.
I like to see her do more things other than just horror, Fiona Dourif, and see where.
Right.
Yeah, I want her. I want her to be her own voice. Like, I mean, okay, yeah, maybe she has a little bit of her father's footsteps, but still be her own voice.
Yeah, I mean, she could put out a couple horror films for sure, or not. That's fine too. I'd much rather see her in other stuff too.
Like having followed Brad Dourif's career, this guy, people don't realize that this guy really has done a lot more than just horror. Like,
absolutely, he is the character actor to end all character actors.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's done Spontaneous Combustion and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and so many other roles that I can't name off the top of my head right now.
Right, and also, like, he's the kind of actor, even if he was in a bad movie, he makes the best of everything.
Exactly.
Like, even though I'm not the biggest Rob Zombie Halloween remake, it's like, okay, that's the one good part I will point out because of his performance as Sheriff Brackett, especially the second one where, like the part when his daughter died, it's like, okay, not that I'm saying I'm just saying it was done very well. Like, it was a very convincing.
Right.
You really felt bad for him. He lost his daughter. It's like, oh my
God. What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about the man is whatever role he takes on, it's he gives it his all, and there's very few actors out, especially now, that regardless of the role, you're Christopher Lee's for one, that regardless of the role, they will give it their all. And
absolutely,
Brad Dourif is one of those actors.
I was watching him. Yeah. I was watching him in a film that he did with Dario Argento and Age Argento called Trauma, where it was about like this woman who's like a former drug addict trying to recover, but sometimes like these past demons were like catching up to her and stuff, and he played like some like doctor or something. I just saw it recently. Sorry I'm not giving the best explanation, but that's all right. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it kind of sort of ties into, that whole thing of just, you can't judge a book by its cover. Some guys are just good character actors and stuff,
Yeah. Tony Todd was the same way. Always gave it his all.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, I really hope the future for cinema is more creative. Like I said, I think indie is really going to be the future. Not to sound like hipster, but I think some form of indie studios are just going to be like, we're going to end up doing, the films we want to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And also, since it was past Halloween, as usual, every year, I watch some good horror movies, past and present. I figured, okay, watch some modern too, like a little mix-up. Like, there was no, like, a particular, like, format or order. I just try to go in open-minded to see what's out there and what's new.
Yeah, and I usually watch horror movies year-round.
Oh, yeah, too, but it was October. I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, when you're in that kind of mood. So I did kind of catch up on certain basically certain movies.
And like let me ask you a question. That's
all right.
Be honest. Like, sometimes even like on Halloween, you watched something like from your childhood that you remember watching a lot as a kid. That wasn't
sometimes.
Really, yeah, like I rewatch.
Sometimes, if I'm in that mood, yeah, sometimes.
Like I rewatch It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and Halloween Town.
Yeah, that can be said. I think I do that more for Christmas, but I can do that for Halloween.
Right, the '90s Casper film. It's not great.
Yeah, '90s Casper film. I've always been a fan of Frighteners. Frighteners was a
I've
film
heard of that. I've
I
never
saw
seen
when
it.
I was a kid with Michael J. Fox.
Right.
I actually need to watch that again. It's been years since I've seen that movie.
Right. Gotcha. I have it on DVD. I have not seen it yet. And that was
Definitely give it
Peter
a watch.
Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Paxton,
Oh, really?
Michael J. Fox, Arlie Erming, and I forget who else.
Right. I get it. And also, I rewatched Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. Scooby Doo: The Witch's Ghost. Classic '90s
Yeah,
Scooby Doo movies.
those were the movies that got me into Scooby Doo. A lot of
Right.
people grew up with the show when
I did too.
in rerun form or whatever. But what I love and what we call the VHS era,
Right.
where or the monsters are real era, because that was the whole theme with that throughout those movies.
Right.
The monsters were real.
Real monsters. No guys in a mask.
And definitely probably the darkest Scooby Doo ever got.
Oh, it was.
Ever got.
The first time I saw it as a kid, I'm like, you know what? This is the best Scooby Doo I've ever seen. Like, it's probably my favorite.
And it makes me miss old school Warner Brothers animation. It makes me miss that
I agree.
style.
Yeah.
That Batman the Animated Series, because that kind of style. Because once they went computer generated, it was never really the same.
Yeah.
The lines were flatter, and it never really had those. The color palettes became brighter and more washed out. But that's just animation. That's just animation as a whole. Certain computer generated animation.
Right. You know how you always do Wolfman Sam recommends?
Yeah.
Well, for once, a change up. Johnny Gunn's film buff recommends.
Yep. Well, it's Johnny's turn.
I saw this movie called Stream. Despite the title, it actually was a little bit better than it sounded. It basically was about this family that was going on a vacation. They go to this hotel. Think of it this way: it was like The Purge meets a little bit of Psycho. And Jeff, knowing we love our '80s horror. Jeffrey Combs was like the owner of the hotel, and
so it's gonna be good. It's
really good.
Jeffrey Combs is another one of those actors where everything he doesn't matter how bad the movie is or how bad the medium is, he gives it his all.
Right. And also, it's got like Tony Todd was in it, but this was probably not one of his last things, though. And Daniel Harris was in it. Tim Curry was again. It's like an all-star of like '80s actors, horror icons.
It's called Stream.
Yeah, Stream. STREAM.
I'll check it out. I got it. Give me that.
Alicia Ross. Again, if you love '80s horror movies, it has a lot of '80s horror actors.
I gotta check out that.
And here's the funny thing that leads up to this part. After seeing this movie, when I went to that convention with my father, we stayed at a hotel, and I'm joking to myself, like, I was thinking about that movie, like, oh god, hopefully that doesn't happen to me, where I'm at a hotel trapped with a bunch of nut jobs.
Right, exactly.
Right. But of course, that didn't happen, of course, that's just a movie.
Yeah, it's only a movie.
Right, it's only a movie. But still, I was telling my dad about the movie, and I'm like, oh, thank god that didn't happen, because in the movie, the family that's going on vacation, there's no Wi-Fi, and the thing is, the no Wi-Fi. That way, they kill they don't can call the police and.
Right, exactly, and that's kind of a modern day horror trope. I'm glad that modern day horror films have kind of worked around phones.
Yeah,
I always thought once we have cellular phones or some form of modern day technology where we could just call for help, it kind of diminishes the horror. It's like oh, there's a killer in my house. Oh, just call the telephone.
Well, there's a killer in the hotel. Well, not just a killer, more like it was like a team of group of killers that were teaming up to kill.
That's a pretty cool concept.
It was.
I like that idea.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely need to see this for sure.
Don't judge a book by its title. At first, I'm thinking, okay, it's got a good all-star cast. And I'm like, but how is the result? As I was watching, I'm like, you know what? Okay, it's not great, but I'm like, this was better than I expected.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like a movie I found a couple months ago, and by its title, you would think, oh, it's got to be the worst, trashiest movie you'd ever think by its title.
Right.
Get ready for this, guys. Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. Now, I've mentioned this movie I think once in the podcast for all you eagle-eared viewers out there, but on the face of it, I looked at this movie thinking this has to be the most trashiest like throwaway bargain bin type movie.
What is it called?
Actually, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. Check it out if you can find it. I found it on Tubi. We're not sponsored by Tubi. Tubi is a free service. Disclaimer. But I found it on Tubi, and by its name alone, I had to check it out. I'm like, what is this movie about? This has to be worth the watch. And surprisingly, it's pretty well acted and pretty funny. It's like if Texas Chainsaw 2 and Frankenhooker kind of had a baby a little bit. Probably people don't know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
No, Frankenhooker, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Frankenhooker is another recommendation for all you guys out there. There's a really funny movie.
With the title.
Really funny movie, Frankenhooker, for those of you that want a more comedic take on the story of Frankenstein.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That title,
Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
It sounds like a title like porn version of Texas Chainsaw.
I know it does. It does. It sounds either like a made up porn version,
right? It does,
or something. Sounds like a made up movie.
Right.
Something like you'd see in another movie, like Seth Rogen type movie or something like that.
It does. Yeah. That's a good movie,
or I don't know, some form of comedic take on just a made up movie, like something like that.
Right. Gotcha.
But definitely worth a watch for sure.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Another recommendation for everyone out there. We talked about this, but Deathgasm. Deathgasm is another. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's my dogs. That's my dogs going.
Like you said, it was like a version of like Evil Dead to some degree, and
yeah, it's a giant love letter to Evil Dead.
Right,
for sure.
Sorry.
Interruptions?
No, all good. All
right. I don't know if anybody could pick up my dogs. I'm sorry about that. I apologize.
Sorry, I'm sure I can edit.
I apologize for those of you watching this video right now. So
yeah, thought somebody came in, but anyway, yeah. So I'll have to check those out for curiosity.
Yeah, for sure. Deathgasm. For those of you that want a little bit more heavy metal in your Evil Dead, check it out. It's a Aussie or New Zealand, I think it is.
Right, gotcha.
And it's pretty awesome.
Right. I also watched for month of October horror movies. I watched I finally saw the third Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's not great. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's kind of middle ground. It's very middle ground.
Yeah, it's funny. Before seeing that, I met both Ken Foree and Kate Hodge prior, for different reasons, and because Kate Hodge, who was the leading female of that film, she worked with Brandon Lee on an action film called Rapid Fire before The Crow.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I met Ken Foree, as you know, and he told me a story about how originally his character was going to die, but early test screen audiences were like, keep this character alive.
Well, he was one of the best parts of Texas 3. He was. He really stole the show. So
He did. Yeah, it wasn't. You can tell that the film had a lot of studio interference, and especially how.
Yeah, with the gore. I know there are a couple cuts that are more gorier than the last.
Yeah.
Which is really weird when you really think about Texas Chainsaw Massacre getting a violence rating, being slashed for its violence. It's like the name of the film is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
Let it massacre. Let it be bloody.
Right. For my Halloween special for on my YouTube channel, that was the video, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because it was the 50th anniversary, and what better way to celebrate by making a YouTube video about it with my dad and talking about it together.
Did you get to the Next Generation?
No. Well, I
skipped
briefly
that one, huh?
I talked about the first one on its own. Then I just briefly summed up my thoughts about the sequels because my dad's never seen the sequels, and that's okay.
Right.
He doesn't have to.
Right.
2 is okay. It's not great. 3, take it or leave it. But Next Generation, that is worse than the third
Next
one.
Generation is bottom of the barrel scrape. I don't even know what they were thinking. I don't even know what they were thinking with Matthew McConaughey, Mr. Alright. Got to bring up the numbers.
I was
monkey with the gun.
I was telling my dad, like, this is not a joke. This is how he acts in the movie when he like kills his victim.
Yeah, like full on Tusken Raider, Star Wars. He sounds
like a Wookiee.
And it's just like how far has this series gone? And that's another great example of just oversaturated series that have overstayed their welcome.
Yeah.
They still don't know what to do with Texas.
No, they don't.
Keep remaking it. They keep rebooting it. They keep making sequels to it. Yeah. They still don't know. There's been more sequels of Texas Chainsaw Massacre than Leatherface has face masks.
Right.
Seriously, it's ridiculous.
I hear you. No, I agree. It's for me with the franchise, I only saw the first one, which is a classic. Second and third, and Next Generation. The remake from 2003, it's not great, but it's not perfect. It's okay.
I like the remake from 2003.
It's solid. It's decent.
And I like the beginning, too.
I didn't like beginning that much. I didn't like the 2013, whatever the heck that was.
I didn't even know 2013 existed until a few years ago.
You didn't miss anything. Yeah,
and then I watched Leatherface, just out of curiosity. And that was more like a remake of the 2005 one. It was a prequel. It was a prequel film, and it just didn't know what to do. Neither did the guy. Had a complete identity crisis.
Yeah, when I saw that in the theater with my friend, we were just like, this one had no idea what it wanted to be. They said
you paid money for that, huh?
Unfortunately, I did. Yes, I don't ask. Maybe because me and my friend were just like, oh, let's hang out and have a day together, which was fun, but minus a bad movie.
Oh man, that really sucks.
Yeah, I didn't see the Leatherface.
I watched mine for free.
I watched I didn't see the Leatherface prequel and the TCM 2022, whatever the hell that was.
I watched the 2022. I don't know what I was thinking. It was bad. It's really
I'll take your word for it.
Really bad.
Yeah.
And it felt like a hipster version of the original, where they wanted to get back to the original, and they also kind of wanted to play catch up with the Halloween Kills trilogy, where they're like, we're ignoring all the sequels. This is a sequel to the original first one. However, we're not going to call it number 2 for some reason. I still can't get over that Hollywood. What the fuck?
Right. To me, the
love numbers. Numbers are okay.
The movie X from 2022 with Mia Goth and Jenna Ortega, that was a better spiritual tribute and of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, I have to get around to watching that.
You have to.
I may have to put my hatred aside for the Studio A24 or whatever it is, because I really do hate that studio.
Right.
But maybe it'll surprise me.
Well, when you see Mia Goth, you might change your mind. Well, not with this too, but you'll enjoy Mia Goth a lot.
Well, I know you're a big fan for obvious reasons.
Yes. People, like you said, people are obsessed with social media. Lady Gaga. How about Mia Goth?
I know. You got your lady crushes. I know.
Well, that's
I know. There's nothing wrong with that.
Here's a little joke right here that I joked with my friend. The term polyamorous, I'm saying that right. I apologize, I'm not saying it correctly. I'm not a polyamorous guy, but as a joke, it would be Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, those top 3.
Yeah, that's your harem right there.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have those top 3. I'll make an exception.
Your concubine.
Yes. Combine all 3 for me and I'm good.
Oh, man. We have fun on this. We have fun on this podcast for sure.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to touch upon?
On Halloween, me and my dad I showed him Pumpkinhead, and he enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I watched that a couple of years back finally, and I enjoyed that as well. That one's really, really good.
Yeah. And I also watched Piranha for in memory of Roger Corman. It was okay.
I hadn't seen that. That's good.
It's okay. It's basically like another Jaws knockoff. That was
right. Yeah, that I know. I know it was kind of a Jaws parody.
Yeah. And also, I saw Terrifier 3 in the movie theaters, and like I said, I'm not the biggest Terrifier enthusiast, but I might as well.
Neither am I. I like the first one.
I might as well catch up because I saw the first two. I'm like, all right, what the heck?
Yeah.
I did a YouTube video about it. I'm not going to go much into detail about it, other than the fact that it was like, well, if you're a fan, then go for it. If not, then skip it. That's all I'm going to say.
It's up to you, dear viewer.
Yeah. And I watched some Edgar Allan Poe gothic horror films by Roger Corman, House of Usher, Mask of the Red Death.
Yeah, I need to watch those again. It's been a while. Last time I watched that, I was still in my teens.
Right. And I showed my dad The People Under the Stairs by Wes Craven.
Love that movie.
It is a good movie, but the main villain characters are a little bit cartoony, over the top.
A little bit, but I like that movie.
Yeah, it is very good. I like the kid actor in that film. I met him a few years ago.
The kid actor is great.
Yes. And Night of the Demons from 1988. That was okay, but not what I expected. I thought it was going to be more serious, but a little bit more comedy than it was serious.
Yeah, it's more comedy. I mean, if you're looking for something more horror tribute, I always recommend Demons.
Right.
It's really good with
I love
Argento.
Yes. Actually, it was produced by Argento, but it was done by Mario Bava's son.
Okay. Yeah, I saw both. I honestly prefer... I know they're two different films, but I honestly prefer Demons over Night of the Demons because Night of the Demons didn't do anything for me.
Right, gotcha. I guess I was expecting more because I'm thinking I look at this movie poster thinking, oh, it looks pretty cool.
Right. And there was kind of a cognitive confusion. It was like, is this a sequel or an offshoot of Demons? Because I saw Demons first.
Right.
No, it has nothing to do with
no, it doesn't. No, not even close. It's just a bunch of the typical cliche, stupid, dumb teenagers.
More to do with Evil Dead than Demons.
Yeah, true.
For sure.
And like you said, Trick or Treat is something you recommend, which I really like a lot.
Yeah, I refer to the 80s, the 86 Trick or Treat.
Yes.
Different movie. Great movie. If you, like I said, if you're I've talked about it before, but if you're a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street and you're looking for a little bit more heavy metal, the 80s Trick or Treat from 86. Also known as Ragman, but most people know it as Trick or Treat.
Right. And I also watched the Thing remake because it's I met the guy Alan Holworth who worked with John Carpenter. Why not? Let's watch the movies for celebration.
Yeah, I always loved John Carpenter as a Thing. That's always one of the movies I point to for practical effects.
Right.
That from beyond any of the 80s adaptations of Lovecraft, which oddly enough they've been trying to adapt Lovecraft lately, and it's not working.
No.
Again, you need those practical effects. You can't make this like an 80s hipster one. There was one I saw called The Color Out of Space. I tried to watch it. I couldn't get past the first 15 minutes.
Well, what is it called? The Color what?
The Color Out of Space, I believe it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard about this one.
On an unrelated note, speaking of actually a related note, speaking of Nicolas Cage, because Nicolas Cage is in that movie, I had watched, for the month of October, I had watched probably the most ridiculous Nicolas Cage movie I've ever seen.
And that would be?
The Vampire's Kiss.
Oh, yes.
The Vampire's Kiss. The movie that spawned 1,000 memes.
Yes, you're right. I know exactly. I saw it too.
It's an odd movie. For those of you that haven't seen it, go into it blind. Go into it blind. It is a horror movie. I don't know if you can see the quotes. My camera's
more like horror comedy than
it's a horror comedy. let's just put it that way.
Like again, that's a film I was familiar with because again, the internet memes, or even like I just knew the movie before, but I didn't see it until like 2 years ago, and
I literally just watched it a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
For the first time, and
right.
Nicolas Cage, young Nicolas Cage, is he's a meme machine. Let's be real. Fun to watch him freak out. I still don't know what to think of the movie itself.
Right.
I have no idea what to think of the movie. I kind of left it going, no, well, that was a movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was good, but it was a movie.
It's, again, not supposed to be taken seriously.
No, absolutely not. But it's the type of movie which is like, is it funny? Is it scary?
It's supposed to
kind of doesn't commit to either.
No.
And that's not an indictment at all. It's definitely an experience, but
I don't know why. I thought you were going to say Longlegs because that was a new film he did recently.
I have yet to see that movie. People have been recommending that movie to me. I have to see it.
Right.
It might be good. It might not.
My cousin told me it was pretty good. She said even though it was like a Silence of the Lambs like type of vibe movie.
Okay, well I'll think of that going in. And I mentioned it before. I think on the last podcast, I had just recently got around to a German horror film called Good Night Mommy, or a Swedish. It's more Swedish actually. I think it's called Good Night Mommy. It's from 2013.
Okay.
And it's really, really good. I recommend, for those of you that haven't seen it, go into it completely blind.
Right.
I'm not going to spoil anything about it, because the less you know, the better.
Right. Gotcha.
But anyway.
And I also watched Slumber Party. Well, I rewatched the first one. I saw the sequel. The first one I liked. The sequel I wasn't too crazy about.
Slumber Party Massacre. For those of you who haven't seen that movie, it is a comedy on the slasher genre.
Right.
Given its title, and I'm sure most of you guys watching would kind of wave it off. Give it a watch. It actually is really funny and really enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's a great movie to watch with friends, or maybe even your girlfriend or whatnot.
For date night.
For date night. It's a nice little, like, kind of in between, not too scary and just funny enough to be enjoyable.
Yeah, it's sort of the kind of film every once in a while when you want to watch a B movie, it's like, okay, this is like the B movie I enjoy wasting my time watching every once in a while.
Right. We all have that kind of junk food movie to kind of turn our brain off. And that's important to have. Everybody has that movie.
That's like how I don't mind watching The Lost Woman once in a while, like Roger Corman.
Right. Those old school monster movies with black.
Yeah.
They're perfect for turning off your brain.
Yeah. I'd rather watch that over
For me, it's Airheads. It's Airheads.
I've seen that.
With Brendan Fraser, Adam Sandler, and Steve Buscemi. That's a hilarious movie, by the way. But
I've seen that.
It's a very relaxed movie.
Yeah. Where they play like a bunch of like heavy metal guys who are like trying to get their record out there.
Yeah, and it's just a really enjoyable movie, and it's got some enjoyable cameos too. Some enjoyable heavy metal cameos.
Like who, for instance?
Lemmy is in that. Lemmy from Motorhead.
Okay.
Makes an appearance in that. One of the guys from Cannibal Corpse, the heavy metal band Cannibal Corpse, makes an appearance.
Okay.
And well, of course, Judd Nelson, but he's not a cameo; he's a character.
Right? Wasn't he like an agent or something? He didn't.
Yeah. I apologize for any of you who haven't seen Airheads. Go watch Airheads.
Right. I've seen it, even though it's been a while. I somewhat have like a little.
Yeah, that movie very quickly became one of my favorite '90s movies for sure.
Right.
Very, very quickly. And that's down to Steve Buscemi and just the cast in general. It's really...
Oh, Rob Zombie is a cameo.
Yes, White Zombie as a whole. The whole White Zombie band has a cameo in a club because they're performing at the club.
Okay. It's been so long. Maybe now, like...
Go watch it. Go watch it.
After having this conversation...
You in chat. You and everybody watching. Go watch it.
After having this conversation, I'll give it a rewatch, especially how you just mentioned Cam. It's like, oh, how did I not know so-and-so had a cameo in this movie?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, how did I miss that?
For sure. To share an unrelated story, I figured I'd mention. I've been streaming video games of late on Twitch, just as a hobby, and wouldn't you know it, I tried to put together a stream, and I've just been having issues. Just trying to stream, and it's been kind of a nightmare. But if you guys are interested, in my little Twitch streams, you can find me at Wolfman Sam. That's Wolfman Sam with a 0 at Twitch. I do stream, I would say, regularly Saturday night, usually around 9ish, maybe earlier. I don't really have a set schedule, but it's Saturdays. I'm keeping it at least that consistent. But that's just something I'm trying.
Wolfman Sam going angry video game nerd style.
Yep. I'm pulling a Twitch streamer. I'm that guy right now. I'm a Twitch streamer. And I put that very lightly because it's literally something I'm testing the waters with.
Right.
So, but yeah, I was trying to stream, and the stream when I was recording had flipped the image of the game, so everything was upside down, and I didn't realize that, and I was streaming for an hour, and that was last night. That was last Saturday.
Right.
And it was like, man, go figure. Everywhere I turn, I just have issues streaming, or either I don't have the energy to stream, or whatever.
Right.
But I'm working on it.
I had something.
Wish me luck.
Something similar to that, but different. Like, I don't know why. For some reason, I was like, when I was trying to save certain videos to a flash drive, documents, and yet I had the finished product, but yet the old footage could not transport. Then my friend helped me.
Yeah, I had that issue one time. I forget what it was for.
Right.
But yeah, we're no strangers to tech issues. Even when we're doing the podcast, we always have some issue. We've been having an echo issue. I hope that was solved.
Here's an idea for a TV show I would have in mind if I was going to be the podcast that goes wrong or something like that. A bunch of
when the pot is off the air or something like. I feel like we should just call it off the air.
Yeah, that's something
like that, off air.
It'd be like the
dead air or something like that.
It would be like the Big Bang Theory, where you have a bunch of nerds who are so into comic books.
I could feel it it'd be written better, because it'd just be relatable. Because even Twitch streamers or guys on YouTube, they always have some form of tech issue.
They were inspired from podcasts they love, whether it could, I don't know, any other than Joe Rogan, but I can't think of any other famous podcasters.
Joe Rogan, Tim Pool,
right?
He doesn't really have a podcast, but Razor Fist of YouTube is
right.
Here I am dropping all these guys. Some of you don't know, but
I was once asked a question are there any particular podcasts I follow? Well, sometimes occasionally what I do is depending on the podcast title, I basically it's basically a random podcast I'll just listen to every now and then.
Right, for sure.
Yeah, and kind of similar how with are there any famous bloggers? I not really. I can't.
Yeah, we all have our heroes,
Yeah, occasionally here and there I read a blog post depending on what the title is.
Yeah, and it always happens even to the most famous. You can't see the quotes, but famous.
Right.
People out there, they always have the biggest issues. I watch. There's a VTuber I watch called Kirsha, and there was one episode she did of her stream where her mic wasn't on, and it's just shit like that, and it's just, it happens to the best of us, and that's why we say we're never professionals. We're never big wigs, right? We're never big wigs. We will never be big wigs, okay? Even if by chance the cosmos align and we have sponsors and all that stuff, we'll never forget you guys for supporting.
I do
watch this podcast.
In the video I did with a collaboration on the screen, I didn't realize that the audio didn't come out the best, so my friend helped me out and fixed that. I re-released the video of better audio this time.
It happens. It happens to the best of us, and sometimes it's not even down to us recording. Sometimes it's down to what we're recording on the platform or otherwise.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And here are 2 other films I watched this past October. Vincent Price's The Last Man on Earth, based on the story I Am Legend by Richard Matheson.
Yeah, that's one of the first adaptations of I Am Legend.
Yes, and
I don't know if it's the first, but...
Well, it definitely is one of the best adaptations. I think it's way better than Will Smith's I Am Legend, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing against Will Smith as an actor.
Me neither, but once you see Vincent Price as Robert Neville, it's like, nope, I can't go back.
A little bit unfair comparison, but yeah.
I know there's the Omega Man, but I still haven't seen that yet. I would like to check it out for curiosity.
Yeah, well.
Well, the thing I like about Vincent Price's Last Man on Earth, he's so, dramatic, and you see, how, the whole experience is goddamn psychological.
Well, I believe he has theater training. I believe he has theater training.
Yes, he did. He did.
So.
The scene, when he's, watching footage of, his family, and it's he's laughing and then crying. It's I miss this so much. I miss that human interaction. I miss that, those memories of, when life was so good, where I had a regular life, a regular job, a regular, I had a family that I loved so much.
Right, exactly.
And now they're gone.
Exactly, and that's why the story works.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And I rewatched, this is something I have not seen since high school, back when it came out in the theaters, 2009's Coraline. It was done by the same guy.
It's funny, I had rewatched that myself a couple months ago.
Right.
And I fell in love with it again.
Dang.
It's a great...
I'm thinking as I rewatch, I'm saying to myself, I forgot how good this movie is.
Yeah, and it's not a Tim Burton movie, but it is...
No.
It's done by either someone he worked with or...
Henry Selick, who directed Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes, that's why.
Because even though Nightmare Before Christmas is Tim Burton, but he didn't direct it because of being committed to directing Batman Returns. He couldn't direct both projects at the same time.
Right, despite his name being on the project.
Right, oh yeah, but it's still Tim Burton all the way, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, but it's just kind of a weird dynamic of being like, he wasn't the director, but...
Yeah, when I first
saw it, or...
He produced and wrote it.
Oh, okay.
And obviously he's the creator of Jack Skellington and all that.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Because I remember when I first saw Coraline when it came out, 2009, I did not know what it was about. I had no knowledge of it. I didn't see a trailer. My friend told me about it, and I went in blinded. I'm like, oh, wow, this is a great film. And at first I thought, is this Tim Burton? But when I saw the end credits, I'm like, oh, it wasn't Tim Burton. But yet, it has that Tim Burton aesthetic.
It does feel very Tim Burton, despite it being a Tim Burton story. But, it does have that. It
has great animation, great performances.
It's funny you mentioned, because I want to mention something interesting. There is a Disney movie, a bona fide Disney movie that isn't Nightmare Before Christmas, in the 80s. It was a special. It was Hansel and Gretel by Tim Burton.
Oh, really?
You can find it on YouTube. It's very dark.
Well, that's Tim Burton for you, period.
It's got that Tim Burton flavor. And for some reason, Disney wants to, hide it. I've noticed that Disney wants to, kind of put it away.
From what I've learned about with Tim Burton, about when he first started out, directing and writing, he was working for Disney. I feel like Disney did not, respect, his dark vision.
Absolutely, because they didn't know at the time, they didn't know what they had.
Yeah, they just did not respect how, this is his style. He's a very... dark, deep person with deep, dark thoughts and stuff, and
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, even though despite he did Vincent, which was a poem tribute to Vincent Price, and
obviously,
obviously, and he did Frankenweenie, which was Frankenstein, but as a kid who lost his dog.
Frankenweenie, which has a live action version, and then later on we have the animated,
which I've seen before. Which is it's not great. It's good. It's definitely another
I didn't
good.
see both. I never saw both. Never saw
Right.
either. So.
Well, I used to watch the one from the '80s on a VHS format because of and I was like, oh wow, this is Tim Burton, like one of his early films before he was famous at the time, and
Interesting.
it had Shelley Duvall, Daniel Stern, and
I'll check it out. I'll check out the original, and
I
I'll
also
check out the
rewatched
animated one too.
I also rewatched Edward Scissorhands. Maybe not really horror, but it has a lot of
Yeah, it's Burton. It counts. It counts.
yeah, well, especially you could think of like Edward Scissorhands similar to like the Frankenstein monster. He didn't want to harm or
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but I love Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, I like that. I like that film too. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Anyway, is there anything you want to cover before we wrap this up?
I guess the last thing 1 hour photo with Robin Williams. Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah, yes I did. I finally got around to that 1 hour photo. I loved it.
Me too.
It was great. It was creepy.
Oh, it was.
For those of you that have not seen it, go see it. 1 hour photo with Robin Williams.
Yeah,
go see it.
That's
go find it.
That's a film I like. That's like one of my favorites he did. Like a great. It just shows how great of an actor he was. How this guy could do everything.
Versatile. Yeah. How versatile an actor he was.
Yeah, it's also like a great like concept. Like especially, you're probably gonna say to yourself, "What was a 1 hour photo thing?" Where back in the day you had to like go drop your film reels at a
yeah. By today's standards, the technology of getting your photos developed. Photo mat is dated, but it's basically the 90s or early 2000s, kind of version of like Paris. Was it what do they call it? Parasite social disorder or
something like that.
Social parasite or whatever, or something like that. I can't find the words. Words. But
yeah.
But basically disorder where you cling to something or you get obsessed with something or someone.
But there was like
you imagine all these types of fantasies.
Right. Like it's sort of like where
parasocial disorder.
Right. Where he had like this obsession with his family he did not really know, and like he was the kind of guy, like it's not that he wasn't a bad person, he just had like some kind of like
an unhealthy obsession.
Yeah, like wishing that he was like part of like thinking that they were a perfect family, but little did he know, because he really did not know this family. He only just knew them from like taking their photos throughout the years.
Right. And it's funny because like you can kind of apply that to today if you do with the internet. We have a lot of internet stars,
true,
like streamers. That's a very adaptable thing to for today as well.
Yeah.
You have to update the medium.
Well, you could like relate to how people have a like unhealthy obsession with social media, where they're only seeing the good part of their life.
Not just social media, but also the people on social media too.
Well, that's true, yeah. Because when I'm watching this film, I'm thinking to myself, this came out today, this guy would be out of a job for what he did for a living at that time.
Well, not only out of the job, but probably obsessed with either some Twitch streamer or some YouTuber or
that's too.
A much more darker and unhealthy obsession, and probably more creepier because it's being that kind of celebrity or that kind of public figure. Fans have more of a personal relationship with them, so
yeah,
but that's something to think about. But creepy.
Yeah, definitely, yeah, and
for sure.
The only person I can think of who still does like going to like places to have their photos like worked is my sister, because she rarely posts on social media. She's never posted photos of like my niece and my nephew for private reasons.
Right, and that's the thing. That's the thing that kind of dwells on us, is just our privacy.
Yeah. Like even though I have
everybody.
I have a lot of photos of my niece and nephew, but due to her like request, I never posted a photo of my niece and my nephew for.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah. Still, anyway. I recommend 1 hour photo. Great movie.
Another movie I think I think you guys should go into blind.
Absolutely, absolutely, and just appreciate and realize, wow, Robin Williams, this guy could have done anything.
Yeah, he really could have. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, that's too. Yeah, it's sad how he died so tragically, Robin Williams.
Yeah, for sure, and it goes to show you that maybe some of the happiest people, or people wear a happy face, but sometimes it might be killing them inside. That's why it's important to find any sort of mental help or any sort of way to work out your demons.
Yeah, true.
Try not to let them consume you.
From reading about the way Robin Williams died, I guess he just did not want to go through the suffering process.
Yeah, I mean, you can debate whether it's justified or not, but I'd rather not get it on, get on a debate on here.
Right, sure, no, I agree. Totally agree on that one.
On here, guys, we try and keep things upbeat. I want to make sure that you guys are inspired in whatever trouble you're going through currently. If our videos of us just rambling about the stuff we love makes your day, it makes our day.
Yeah, true.
Our day, and that's more than I could ever ask from you guys. If me and John make your day by making these videos, then
right.
it makes it for us.
True.
For us, and we thank you.
True.
Anyway, you want to end it here?
Yeah, I guess one here. I pretty much summed up everything that I on my list about who I met recently, and also horror movies I watched this October for the occasion.
Okay. Well, with that said, thank you all for joining us. I've been Wolfman Sam, here with my partner Johnny Buff Guns, and we are Creatures of the Night.
Creatures of the Night. See you next time.
See you next time.